She came back different. Completely different. After 3 hours with her friends, the woman who left smiling out the door came back like a stranger. The cold look, the short answers, the emotional distance you can feel without even touching her. And you know exactly what happened, because it's happened before. The friends said something. They planted something in her head. And now you're paying the price for conversations you didn't even hear. But here's the truth no one tells you: the friends didn't change her. They only revealed who she always was. You may hate that statement. You might want to argue with me right now. But before you close this video, answer honestly: why is it that every time she spends time with that specific group, the storm heads your way? Why do the same friends always have the same influence? And why, even when you try to talk, does she defend those people more strongly than she defends the relationship? The answer will hurt, but it will free you from months, maybe years, of trying to fight invisible enemies. The problem was never the friends. The problem is that you're dating someone who chooses to be surrounded by people who validate the worst version of her. And that choice is not random. It's a direct reflection of who she is inside, even when she's alone with you, smiling and pretending everything is fine. Let me show you how this works in practice. When she goes out with her friends, it's not as if they cast a spell on her. There's no magic. What happens is much simpler and much more frightening. They simply give her permission to express thoughts and feelings that were already there, kept inside, waiting for the right moment to explode. That single friend who badmouths all men? She's not creating insecurities in your partner. She's validating insecurities that already existed. That divorced friend who says every man cheats? She's not planting distrust. She's watering a seed your partner had already planted on her own, in silence, every time she chose to doubt you for no reason. People don't choose friends by accident. They choose people who reflect who they are or who they secretly want to be. If your partner keeps a toxic, dramatic social circle full of bitter, resentful women, it's not because she's a victim of those influences. It's because something inside her resonates with that energy. It's because, deep down, she agrees with those distorted views of relationships. Have you tried to talk about it? Of course you have. And what happened? She accused you of jealousy. Called you controlling. Said you want to isolate her. And you, trying to be the understanding boyfriend, backed down. Apologized. Let it go. And the friends kept being there, stronger and more present each time, while you became weaker and weaker in her eyes. But the real problem isn't even their influence. The real problem is that you still believe you can save someone who doesn't want to be saved. You still think that if you're patient enough, if you love hard enough, she'll wake up one day and realize those friends are toxic. But she already knows. She always knew. And still, she chooses to stay. That raises a question you need to face. If she knows those friends cause problems in the relationship, if she sees that every time she meets them you two fight, why does she keep going? Why does she keep giving more value to the opinion of women who barely know you than to the reality you two build together? The answer is simple, but brutal: because she wants to. Because that drama feeds something in her. Because complaining about you with her friends is easier than having an adult conversation with you. Because being the victim of the difficult boyfriend in the group is more comfortable than admitting that maybe she's the problem. And here's the point that will change everything. When you try to compete with the friends, you've already lost. When you ask her to choose between you and them, you put yourself on the same scale. And you know what happens? She weighs it. She really considers it. And the fact that there is hesitation already tells you everything you need to know. A healthy relationship doesn't work like that. An emotionally mature woman doesn't let friends destroy what she built with you. She doesn't take every little conflict to be dissected by people who don't live your relationship. She doesn't turn you into the villain of the whole story every time she meets that group. But your partner does that. Repeatedly. And you keep coming back, hoping one day it will be different. If you're recognizing these patterns right now, if you're feeling a tightness in your chest because every word of this video describes exactly what you live, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And drop in the comments which city or country you're watching this from, because you're not alone in this situation. Thousands of men around the world are going through the same experience, thinking they're crazy, thinking they're controlling, when in fact they're just seeing the obvious. Her friends aren't the problem. She is. Now comes the part that will really open your eyes. Because up until now, you may still be thinking that maybe it's just a phase. That maybe if you hang on, it will pass. But I need to show you exactly what's happening behind the scenes, in the conversations you don't hear, in the WhatsApp groups where your name is mentioned as if you were the enemy. While you are working, building, planning a future, there is a secret court judging your every move. Every word you said in the last argument is distorted. Every action is interpreted in the worst possible way. And your partner isn't defending you. She's feeding the fire. You know that small argument you had about something trivial? In the friends group, that becomes emotional abuse. You asked her not to go out again this week because you barely saw each other? In the group, you are controlling and possessive. You were tired and didn't want to talk at that moment? In the group, you are insensitive and cold. And here's the detail you need to understand. She's not just telling the facts. She's telling an edited version, cut and arranged to make you look like the villain. Because if she told the whole story, if she admitted her part in the conflict, the friends might question her. They might say she's also at fault. And she doesn't want to hear that. She wants validation. That is the fuel that keeps these groups functioning. It's not about genuine friendship. It's about creating an echo chamber where each woman can be the perfect victim and have a chorus of voices confirming that she's right, that he's wrong, that she deserves better, that she should end things. Now think with me, when was the last time her friends encouraged your relationship? When was the last time they said something positive about you? Never. Because women who live in drama cannot celebrate the love of others. They need to tear it down. They need to question it. They need to plant doubt. And your partner absorbs all of this as if it were absolute truth. She comes home looking at you with different eyes. The man she loved 3 hours ago now seems suspicious. Your intentions are questionable. Your gestures of affection are calculated. Because the friends planted seeds of distrust that she waters every day. But here's what you still haven't realized. She allows this to happen because she wants to. If she truly loved you, if she truly valued what you two have, she would shut down any conversation that tried to destroy it. She would defend you in your absence. She would tell her friends to stop speaking badly about you. But she does none of that. She participates. She agrees. She adds details. You might be thinking that maybe she doesn't realize what she's doing. That maybe she's too naive. But no one is that naive. No one spends months watching the same pattern repeat and fails to connect the dots. She knows exactly what the friends do. And she allows it because it serves a purpose for her. What purpose? Simple. Having an escape valve. Having a place where she can complain without consequences. Having people who will always agree with her, no matter how wrong she is. It's convenient. It's comfortable. And it's cowardly. Because a mature person resolves conflicts directly. A mature person doesn't need a jury of friends to validate every feeling. A mature person understands that relationships have challenges and that exposing those challenges to outsiders is a silent betrayal. But she is not mature. And neither are her friends. They form a vicious cycle where no one grows, no one evolves, no one takes responsibility. It's always the boyfriend's fault. It's always the man who needs to change. It's always him who isn't enough. And you, trying to prove your worth, stretch yourself thin. You do more. Give more. Try to be perfect. And do you know what happens? Nothing changes. Because the problem was never what you do or don't do. The problem is that she chose to surround herself with people who benefit from her unhappiness. Now let me tell you something that will turn your stomach. Those friends do not want her to be happy. They may say they do. They may act like they care. But unhappy women cannot stand to see other women happy. Especially if they themselves are single, divorced, or in bad relationships. When your partner arrives happy, telling them that you two solved a problem, that you did something special, that things are great, what do you think happens? They diminish it. They downplay it. They find a way to insert doubt. Oh, but be careful, men who do that are usually hiding something. Enjoy it now because it won't last. My ex was like that in the beginning too. They simply cannot be happy for her. Because her happiness exposes their misery. So they attack. Subtly. With poison disguised as concern. And your partner, instead of seeing this, believes it. Because it's easier to doubt you than to doubt her friends. And here is the saddest part of all this. You cannot compete. It doesn't matter how many flowers you buy, how many dinners you plan, how many times you prove your love. The friends will always find something to criticize. They will always have a story about an ex who did the same thing before cheating. They will always have a reason for her to doubt. You are fighting a war you cannot win because the battlefield has been set against you from the start. And the woman who should be on your side is sitting in the stands, watching you bleed, without lifting a finger to help. So the question you need to ask is not how to convince her friends to like you. The question is, why do you want to stay with someone who allows other people to destroy what you two built together? Now we reach the point where everything falls apart. Where you finally realize that you are not fighting against her friends. You are fighting against the version of her that has always existed, but that you refuse to see. Because let's be honest, you already knew. From the first time she came back cold after meeting that group, you felt something strange. But you ignored it. You justified it. You told yourself it was all in your head, that you were being insecure, that you needed to trust more. And while you were convincing yourself of that, she kept choosing those people every single day. Every message in the group. Every scheduled meetup. Every time she prioritized their opinion over yours. Every decision was a conscious choice to value external voices more than the voice of the man who sleeps next to her. But here's what will really break you. She doesn't do this only with you. She does it with anyone. You may think you are special, that with you it will be different, that your love will endure. But look at her history. Look at her past relationships. They all ended the same way. All the ex-boyfriends were painted as villains. And guess who was there at every breakup, validating her narrative? The same friends. This is not a coincidence. This is a pattern. And patterns don't lie. They reveal character. They show who the person really is when no one is watching. Do you want to know the hardest truth? Her friends are not the problem because they are toxic. They are the problem because she needs them. She needs people who confirm that she is the eternal victim, that all men are bad, that she is never at fault. Because taking responsibility hurts. Growing hurts. Admitting that maybe she is the common denominator in all her failed relationships hurts too much. So it's easier to blame you. Easier to say you're not trying hard enough, that you're insensitive, that you don't understand her. Easier to let her friends build that narrative while she passively agrees, nodding along. And you? You keep trying. You keep stretching yourself thin. You keep thinking that if you only become better, if you only love harder, if you only prove your worth, she will wake up. But she won't. Because she doesn't want to wake up. She is comfortable in the victim role. She is comfortable having a group that will always support any decision she makes, no matter how destructive. Let me give you a real-life example of how this works. You know that couple everyone thought was perfect? The one that posted happy photos, the one that seemed to have everything figured out? They broke up. And when they did, her friends already had the narrative ready. They already knew exactly what to say. They had already convinced her that breaking up was the only option. Because they had been working on it for months, planting doubts, creating crises where none existed. The man never saw it coming. He thought everything was fine. He thought the problems were normal, that every relationship has highs and lows. He didn't know that every low was being amplified 1,000 times in the friends group. That every small argument became evidence of a toxic relationship. That every bad moment was catalogued and used as ammunition. And when she finally ended things, he was destroyed. Confused. Unable to understand what happened. Because for him, nothing had changed. But for her, guided by the constant chorus of her friends, everything had changed long before. That is the reality you are facing now. You are in a relationship where 3, 4, 5 people have a vote. Where every major decision passes through the judgment of women who do not live your reality, who do not know the full truth, who emotionally benefit from her chaos. And do you know what's worse? You can't do anything about it. Absolutely nothing. Because anything you say will be used against you. If you complain about her friends, you're controlling. If you ask her to spend less time with them, you're manipulative. If you try to show her how toxic that group is, you're trying to isolate her. You're trapped in a game where the rules constantly change and you always lose. And the only person who could change that, the only person who has the power to set healthy boundaries, to defend the relationship, to choose you over the cheap validation of her friends, simply will not do it. Because she has already chosen. And she didn't choose you. It may hurt to hear this. It may sound cruel. But it is the truth you need to swallow before you waste more years of your life trying to fix something she doesn't want to fix. before you completely break yourself trying to compete with voices that will always be louder than yours. And now you are at the point where you need to make a decision. Continue in this cycle, hoping that one day she will change, that one day she will realize what she is losing? Or accept that a person who allows others to destroy her relationship is not someone ready to be in a serious relationship. Because here's the final truth no one wants to admit: if she wanted to, she would change. If you were truly important, she would set boundaries. If the relationship were a priority, she would not let external opinions have so much weight. But she doesn't want to. You are not important enough. And the relationship was never a priority. So what do you do now? How do you get out of this situation with your dignity intact and your sanity preserved? First, you stop trying to change her. Stop trying to compete with her friends. Stop trying to prove your worth to someone who has already decided that you will never be enough. Because the truth is, you already are enough. You always were. The problem was never you. The problem was always her and the sick need she has for external validation. Do you understand what that means? It means you can be the best boyfriend in the world and still lose. You can do everything right and still be painted as the villain. You can love with all your intensity and still be discarded because her friends decided you weren't good enough. And that should free you. Because if the outcome doesn't depend on your effort, then it makes no sense to keep trying. If she is going to choose her friends' opinions anyway, then your only rational choice is to stop participating in this game. But let's go further. Let's talk about what you really deserve. You deserve a partner who defends you in your absence. Who doesn't need to consult 5 people before making a decision in the relationship. Who resolves conflicts directly with you, not in WhatsApp groups. Who understands that a relationship is built by 2 people, not a committee. You deserve someone who chooses you every day. Not because her friends approve. Not because her family likes you. But because she, independently of any external influence, recognizes your worth and decides to stay. That is the difference between a mature relationship and one based on social validation. And here is the most important lesson of all: mature people have friends who strengthen their relationships. Immature people have friends who destroy them. If you observe couples who last decades, you'll notice a pattern: they have healthy social circles. Friends who celebrate their love. People who encourage, who help, who want to see them grow together. Your partner doesn't have that. And she doesn't have it because she doesn't want it. Because having healthy friends would require her to be healthy herself. It would require emotional maturity. It would require responsibility. And it is much easier to remain immature when you have an entire group validating that choice. So here is what you need to do: coldly evaluate whether this is the life you want. Whether you want to spend years trying to win the approval of people who will never approve of you. Whether you want to build a family with someone who lets strangers have more influence than you. Whether you want to grow old next to a woman who still hasn't learned to defend her own relationship. And if the answer is no, then you already know what to do. You don't need more proof. You don't need to wait for her to change. You don't need a catastrophic final event to justify your exit. The simple fact that she chooses toxic people over you is reason enough. But maybe you still have hope. Maybe you think you can talk to her, that this time it will be different, that she will finally see. And if you really want to try, then do one last thing: watch the actions, not the words. She may say that you're important. She may say her friends don't influence her that much. She may promise she'll change. But watch what she does. Does she keep going out with the same people? Does she keep coming back different? Does she keep defending that group when you express discomfort? Actions don't lie. Words lie all the time, but actions reveal real priorities. And if her actions continue showing that her friends come first, then you have your answer. And that answer should be enough for you to make the hardest, but most necessary decision of your life. Because in the end, you are not choosing between staying or leaving. You are choosing between your peace or constant chaos. Between your self-esteem or her validation. Between building something real or pretending everything is fine while everything collapses inside. And the truth is that life is too short to spend with people who don't choose you. Too short to beg for love from someone who should give it freely. Too short to compete with voices that will never quiet down. You deserve more. You always deserved more. And the first step to having more is to stop accepting less. So here is my final word for you: her friends are not your enemies. They are only the symptom of a much bigger problem. And that problem has a name: lack of character. Lack of maturity. Lack of real commitment. And you don't fix lack of character with love. You don't fix immaturity with patience. You don't fix lack of commitment with sacrifice. These things only change when the person themselves decides to change. And until then, you are only wasting your time. If this video opened your eyes, if you finally understood what is happening in your relationship, then subscribe to the channel and like the video. And tell me in the comments which city or country you're watching from and whether you'll have the courage to do what needs to be done. Because recognizing the problem is the first step. But acting on that recognition? That's what separates men who live in peace from men who live in constant despair. The choice was always yours. And always will be.